Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Elm City Lit Fest podcast. I'm Ife Michelle Gardine, founder of Elm City Lit Fest, a celebration of literature, literary arts, and literary artists of the African diaspora. This evening, my guest is my good friend and all around socialite lady, Babz Rawls Ivy. And tonight we're talking about poetry because Babs and I. Oh, and clink, cheers! I got my glass too. Um, Tonight we're going to talk about poetry as we're sipping wine. We're going to recite some poetry because we both have a love for poetry. And
Yes.
I thought about this last week. There was a celebration on October 17th was National Black Poetry Day, which was founded by Jupiter Hammond in the 1700s. And I read some poetry last week. I read I did some original poetry, but then all week I've been thinking about poetry and reading poetry. So I asked my friend Babs to come on with me because we both love poetry, right, Babs?
We do. Yes, we do. We do. We do. We do. I do. We do.
Yes. And like we don't have any favorite poets. Like it's hard because like we've been reading it so long, it's hard to say who's your favorite. Like, so I have a little bit of for my repertoire this evening. I have a little bit of young, a little bit of old. Um, and I'm gonna start out with Rupi. I love Rupi. But let's just talk
Me
about
too.
how did you start? When did your first memory of poetry, Babs? When did you first start like
I
digging
think
it?
you know what? I think my first memory of poetry was high school. I had a Jewish English teacher, Miss Prokop, and she turned and she was so cool. She turned me on to so many things, but she was a fan of Gwendolyn Brooks. So she
Oh
turned me on to
wow.
Gwendolyn Brooks. But then I had an uncle who was in the military and he was stationed in Germany. And he sent me Nikki Giovanni albums. He sent me two Nikki Giovanni albums from Germany. And I put them on. He sent me a component player. Do they say component players anymore? But component players, Ife, where it was the turntable, the cassette,
Yep, the
the
whole
eight
yeah.
track. It was it was all the
Okay,
things.
yep, that's the multi.
But he sent it
Mhm.
to Germany. He sent it to me, and I put it together. He had speakers, the whole nine. It was great. It was one of these cool things with the dust cover. It was very sleek looking, very Swedish looking, and he sent me these Nikki Giovanni albums. Um,
Was
and
it
I
the
was blown
desktop
away.
one or was it the whole one?
It was a whole thing. Like it was a whole thing in its own case, a whole
The
tower,
desktop one.
and it was very streamlined, very sleek. It was very sleek and expensive looking, and it was expensive, I would imagine. And then he
Wow.
sent me the Nikki Giovanni albums, My House, and I think Truth is on the Way or something. Um, and I remember that was my first introduction to Nikki Giovanni, who happens to be my sorority sister, by the way. And I had a love affair with her ever since. Like that was the beginning of the love affair because listening to her recite her poetry with the with the gospel choir in the background of all her poems was just I just never heard anything like it. Like I just never heard anything like it.
So I want to say my My aunts, both teachers, my aunt Elaine Goodson and my aunt Edie, who is your soror, um,
Oh yes.
always gifted books. And I was an avid reader as well. And so and my aunt went to Virginia. Elaine, my aunt Elaine went to Virginia State, and I believe she had the Nikki Giovanni album as well as The Last Poets and Gil Scott
Oh.
Aaron.
Oh. Oh,
Yes,
that's rich.
right. And so and just listening to that, and so I bought it. Like you remember at the record store? What's the record shop
Yes.
on Dixon Avenue? I went and bought me. I went to and would play it over and over again. But then I got like I would. I'm one of them people that get addicted to stuff. Like if I like a song, I play it over and over again.
Mhm.
Um, when I discovered Nikki Giovanni and also and when I was in high school, I had a social studies teacher who introduced us to Intozaki Shenge.
Oh,
And
when Colored Girls Consider the Rainbow and
what
Suicide.
and so I could recite that whole choreo
Yeah.
poem.
Yeah.
When I went to see the movie, it was really I just knew every line. It was just like
I know.
almost didn't want to see the movie because
I know, right? I felt the same way. I was like, I almost don't want to see. First of all, I mean, and people took a lot of issue with Tyler Perry doing it, but I wasn't mad at Tyler Perry doing it. Like it didn't move me like that. Like I wasn't mad about it. I just didn't want it to be co-opted. I wanted it to be true to the. But and I personally thought it was, but I mean, I know he took a lot of criticism about it, but I think the criticism came because people they hadn't read it. Like you know what I mean? Like they just like
yeah.
see it as, oh, this is anti-black woman stuff. But it's not. Like you have to read it and absorb it. Like
And you also have to look at the time that she wrote it.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because a lot of and this is something that I believe Nikki Giovanni said when she was speaking at Yale. When somebody asked her what she was thinking when she wrote something, she said, "Girl, I was 19 when I wrote
Right.
that."
Right. And people
Because
forget that you grow and change and develop. Like, okay, I wrote this poem when I was 20. Like, I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 70. Like,
70 something.
yeah. Like Nikki Giovanni is 70 something years old. She's like,
She's like,
girl.
I'm glad you like it and resonates with you, but I was your age when I wrote it. So I don't know what I was thinking then. Because as we all know, as we age and mature, our emotions, our thoughts, and the way we deal with things evolve. We hope.
Yes. I mean, yes, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you would hope. Like you hope that people evolve. You know, you
Anyway,
hope.
what you got first, Baz? What's your first one?
Well, my first one is Nikki Giovanni's poem, Kidnap Poem. Because here's the thing: people forget Nikki Giovanni had a thing for H. Rap Brown, who was
That's right.
like a sort of like a Black Panther adjacent. He changed his name.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go back and look what he changed. We know what he changed his name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't remember what it is, but he was H. Rap Brown when she wrote this poem back in the day, because she had a thing. She was with him. He
Mm-hmm.
was a Panther, and he was, Black is beautiful kind of stuff, and she was down with that. So, but this is the Kidnap poem by Nikki Giovanni, which is one of my to me, Ife, it's still a
Mm-hmm.
sexy poem. Like you could
Okay.
still say this to somebody now, even though she wrote this poem like 50 years ago, but it's still sexy, right?
Yes.
It holds up. So it's a
And I think
Kidnap.
we both have because some of my poems are out of her. I got
Yes.
I got this.
Yes. I just have every book that she's written. But
Okay.
anyway, ever been kidnapped by a poet? If I were a poet, I'd kidnap you, put you in my phrases, and meet you to Jones Beach, or maybe Coney Island, or maybe just in my house. Lyric you in lilacs and dash you in the rain, blend into the beach to complement my sea, play the lyre for you, ode you with my love songs, anything to win you, wrap you in the red, black, green, yeah, show you off to mama. If I were a poet, I'd kidnap you. I just think that's a simple, sexy, grown poem.
It
If I was a
really,
poet, I kidnap you.
what?
I
So I
love
got,
it.
okay, I got another one by her. Seduction.
Oh, I love that
Because
one,
girl,
Ife.
I feel like no, and I got so many, I got like a lot of paper clips in these pages because there's so many.
Girl, I know. I know.
Anyway, one day you're gonna walk in this house and I'm gonna have on a long African gown. You'll sit down and say, the black, and I'm gonna take one arm out, and then you not noticing me at all will say, what about this brother? And I'm going to be slipping it over my head, and you'll rap about the revolution while I rest my hand against my your hand against my stomach, and you'll go on as you always do, saying, I just can't dig, while I'm moving your hand up and down, and I'll be taking your dashiki off, and then you'll say, what we really need, and I'll be licking your arm, and the way I see it, we ought to, and unbuckling your pants. And what about the situation and taking your shorts off? Then you'll notice your state of undress, and knowing you'll just say, Nikki, isn't this counter revolutionary?
Oh, that's one of my favorites. That's one of my
Yes.
favorites. That's one of my favorites. Because you
Okay.
know what? Because we don't talk about counter-revolutionary conversations. Like we're not specifically having those kinds of conversations. So I think that poem is so badass. Like it's just so, yeah.
And she got on her African thing, and he got on his dashiki, and it's like, listen, because what I feel like a lot of poets, very talented poets, they always like are in anger, like "Rah, rah, 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 rah." But
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone in the struggle, and I always say this, everyone needs to find some joy. You got to go someplace to recharge, rejuvenate, and get your strength up for the struggle.
Yes.
It can't all be the struggle, because when you go home, you want to let your hair down. You want to have a glass of wine. You want to hug somebody. Uh-uh.
I I think you're right. And for me, there's a couple of artists that sort of understand that. Like I love Lucille Clifton,
Yes.
who sort of understood I can be sexy and I could also be revolutionary. I could be
Right.
thought provoking and I could be seductive. Do you know what I mean? Like she
Exactly.
really sort of understood um the threads of all of poetry. There was poetry for everybody. For y'all who want to be like Ungawa Black Power, she got you. But for those of you who were like, I just want to feel sexy and feminine and womanly and comely, I got you. I got
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Got you.
Who you got next? What you got next? You got
I
more
think
Nikki?
I think I'm a no. I think I'm gonna pick a Lucille Clifton poem
Okay.
because I was at Grace Farms this weekend with
Oh, yes. Tracy.
yes, who was the last US poet laureate, and she talked about time in poetry, time in events, and she was quite mesmerizing, Ife, I must say. She was
I could
quite
imagine.
mesmerizing.
I could imagine.
And she gave us a tight hour. She wasn't like, she didn't talk for days. And she read some Lucille Clifton poetry, and she read some uh some Jericho Brown poetry. And if
Oh.
you don't know, so she gave us some old stuff and some very new stuff.
Hmm.
And so I know everybody was like on their phones, like, okay, uh who
They
is
want
this?
to hear her stuff.
What was she talking about? So
Mhm.
anyway, Blessing the Boats by Lucille Clifton. Um Blessing the Boats at St. Mary's. May the tide that is entering even now the lip of our understanding carry you out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water, water waving forever, and may you, in your innocence, sail through this to that. I just
Wow.
I just thought that was a lovely little poem by her. I thought it was lovely.
It was.
I think people forget poems don't always have to be long and heavy, that they can get the job done short and sweet.
Exactly. Exactly. Poet laureates.
What do
And
you got?
I got, I was looking for Rita Dub, something with Rita Dub, but I have Marilyn.
I just read something by Rita Dove the other day.
Yeah. So this is from Marilyn's book, How I Discovered Poetry.
Oh, is that Marilyn Nelson?
Marilyn Nelson.
Oh, we
Speaking
love
of New York,
Marilyn Nelson.
yes, former Connecticut poet laureate
And she's very much with us and very much writing and very much
in
engaging.
Connecticut.
Yes, yes.
And this is it's like a memoir poetry book. Um, and it just is full of wonderful, wonderful things. And it just goes through a journey of her life. So this one is called Glow in the Dark.
Hmm.
Um, some TV Negroes have shine in the dark, white eyes and teeth, and are afraid of ghosts. I slip out of my twin bed, tiptoe to our dresser mirror, and grin in the dark. To my relief, my teeth and eyes don't shine. In the no lights on midnight mirror, I'm a darker outline against darkness. Behind my silhouette, my Sunday school attendance award cross is still glowing in the shadowed cubicle of my headboard. Between my gold plastic music box clock and my gold fruitcake tin full of treasures, guided by its dying phosphorescence, I slide back into my warm blanket nest. I find that this book in particular of hers is, even though it's a memoir, it's like comforting, and I don't know, it, and just very in the poetry and the
Hmm.
history is that's just so comforting about the memories of childhood memories.
I like that because
Y-
I think there's a poem for every sort of facet of our lives, um, and people should sort of seek out poems to sort of give us a understanding of how we're feeling in the moment on any given subject, whether it's love or unrequited love, whether it's family drama, whether it's work, whether it's environmental stuff. Like,
right.
poetry gives you opportunity to sort of succinctly say, this is what's happening. At least that's how I see it.
Which is why I got this book. This one have been helping me through the week. Homebody by Rupi Kaur.
I love that book.
Oh my God. Because the sections are mind, heart, rest, and awake. And
Mhm.
not all the, well, the ones I'm going to go through them. This in each section. The ones I picked were very short, but so poignant and right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in the section of mind, why do I let my mind get under my skin? I am so sensitive. What? Who can relate to that? My mind keeps running off to dark corners and coming back with reasons for why I am not enough. That should be a mantra for somebody out there who ain't feeling enough.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And this one I've have felt. My mind, my body, and I all live in one place, but it feels like we are three completely different people. God, I've been there.
Ooh, I love
Ooh,
it.
so that was in the mind section. In the heart section, it's wait, let me see in heart. Here we go. Have to find where my little things at. I want you to wipe away everything you know about love and start with one word: kindness. Give it to them. Let them give it to you. Be two pillars equal in love, and you'll carry empires on your backs. I need that now. I'm not looking for love, but I would like love to come this way.
I think love poems are my favorite poems,
Yes.
right? Like I love a good love poem. Like I love a good love poem, and I'm always seeking them out. And I know people think, "Oh, that's so sappy," but I for me, I don't think we can never
Stop
get
feeling
it
that.
right or never get enough of it, because I think because the opposite of love is war, or well, the opposite of love is indifference. But if you if you don't make love your ministry, what are you doing? That's what I
Okay.
feel like what are you doing? Like how why are you on the earth if you're not sort of saying love is everything, love is where I'm at, love is where I'm going, love is what I'm trying to do, love is where I'm rooted. And if you're not doing that work, then what work are you doing? That's how I feel. So
Oh, and the okay, you got something because I'm gonna do some from her because this is some love right here.
oh, 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 oh.
Pierre Janti. Oh my gosh. If y'all ain't got him yet, uh order it, order it. Go to people get ready if you in New Haven.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Oh, I
He has
love that. I love that.
serious love poems in here.
Well, my favorite Nikki Giovanni poem
Mm-hmm.
is um Nikki Giovanni's Resignation. It's a little bit long, not terribly long, but it's a little bit long.
Go for it, Babs.
But I love it, and I read it often.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think in this time it bears people listening to it out loud. So Nikki Giovanni Resignation, and I've read this in all kinds of spaces. Resignation.
Mm-hmm.
I love you because the earth turns round the sun, because the north wind blows north sometimes, because the Pope is Catholic and most rabbis Jewish, because the winters flow into springs and the air clears after a storm, because only my love for you, despite the charms of gravity, keeps me from falling off this earth into another dimension. I love you because it is the natural order of things. I love you, like the habit I picked up in college of sleeping through lectures, or saying I'm sorry when I get stopped for speeding, because I drink a glass of water in the morning and chain smoke cigarettes all through the day, because I take my coffee black and my milk with chocolate, because you keep my feet warm through my life. And though my life a mess, I love you because I don't want it any other way. I'm
Ooh.
helpless in my love for you. It makes me happy to hear you call my name. I am amazed you can resist locking me in an echo chamber where your voice reverberates through the four walls, sending me into spasmodic ecstasy. I love you because it's been so good for so long that if I didn't love you, I'd have to be born again. And that is not a theological statement. I am pitiful in my love for you. The Dells tell me it's so simple, though the thought through though of you sends indescribably delicious multitudinous thrills throughout and through in my body. I love you because no two snowflakes are alike. And it is possible if you stand tippy toe to walk between the raindrops. I love you because I'm afraid of the dark and can't sleep in the light. Because I rub my eyes when I wake up in the morning and find you there. Because you, with all your magic powers, were determined that I would love you. Because there was nothing for you but that I would love you. I love you because you made me want to love you more than I love my privacy, my freedom, my commitments, and responsibilities. I love you because I changed my life to love you, because you saw me one Friday afternoon and decided that I would love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. That's one of
Ooh.
my favorite poems.
You
This is
could
one of
tell by the way you were reading it.
It's one of my favorite poems, Ife. I love this poem. I wish I
Plain-
could. I wish I had the fortitude to commit it to memory, but I don't have to read it. But it's one of my favorites.
Well, I'm gonna read from another poet laureate, Rita Dove, Heart to
Oh,
Heart.
I love Rita Dove.
I
Oh
do
my
too.
gosh.
It's neither red nor sweet. It doesn't melt or turn over, break or harden, so it can't feel pain, yearning, regret. It doesn't have a tip to spin on. It isn't even shapely, just a thick clutch of muscle, lopsided mute. Still, I feel it inside its cage, sounding a dull tattoo. I want. But I can't open it. There's no key. I can't wear it on my sleeve or tell you from the bottom of it how I feel. Here, it's all yours now, but you'll have to take me to. Oh my
I love
gosh,
Rita Dove
I do too.
because I just think Ife. I just think poetry just gets right at the heart of things
Whew, it really does. It really does.
quickly. You
Quick,
know.
as much as we love to read,
Yes,
um,
and we do. We do. We do. We do.
um, but it's something about poetry, and it just, I just wanted to keep poetry going. Um, got another one by Rita. By Rita. Let me open it up. Jeez. Love. Oh no, this isn't her. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. Sorry. Oop, oop, oop. Yeah, I thought that was hers, but that isn't hers. Um, but oh, let me get her back. Let me do one from her, because this man, he understands. No,
Who? Her?
Jean Paul. What's his name? Jonty. Pierre Alex Jonty. I don't know how to say that. His last name. He's probably Haitian. Women like her are both salt and sugar. How her love tastes truthfully depends on what you bring to the table and how you serve it. Okay?
We're gonna go with that.
She is everything a man will desire and need, as well as everything a boy will not understand, not value, and will take for granted.
I like that.
This man is like these poems. What are good flowers without water? What are good promises without actions?
I just love the way that these poems are short and so thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they call you to think about them in a way that maybe a book or a chat book or some other entity wouldn't allow for, that a short poem will get you to thinking about an issue quickly, you know. I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
I got I'm such a fan of Langston Hughes,
Yep.
and I've got a collection of works by Langston Hughes. So this is from the poems between 1921 and 1940. And you know this one. Poem. It's called Poem. The night is beautiful, so the faces of my people.
Mm.
The stars are beautiful, so the eyes of my people. Beautiful also is the sun. Beautiful also are the souls of my people. I was like, go ahead, Richard Wright. Because, Langston Hughes, I just love the poetry of Langston Hughes because it just speaks to that moment where he talked a lot of, he talked about love, he talked about injustice, he talked about black on black injustice. I mean, he covered a lot in these 3 volumes of poetry.
And
I was like,
he
oh
loves he sincerely all his poetry and his stories show his love for our people.
yeah, yeah,
And and like um passion and hope in the struggle.
yeah,
Cuz again, there's so much we struggling constantly and so much and all the time. We got to get, I feel personally that there are times when we just got to rise above it. Or you utilize, find them times of joy, love, and gratitude to persevere through the bull shit.
no, I get you. I mean, I feel you. I dare say I hope that we can elevate poetry to the place where we are reading that first. You know what I mean? Like we are.
Yep.
Let me let us find out what the poets are thinking about, as opposed to those that write full fictitious or fictional books or accounts. But let's check in and see, what are the poets talking about? What are the poets saying? Because that gives you a good, I think, pulse of what is happening in the world when you look at what poets are writing about.
It gives you a good, poets have a good pulse
Yes.
on what is now and what is happening, what in evolution, and the word, the poetry motivates, activates, gives you a lot to think about, like you said, in a little bit of
Yes.
time.
Yes. Yes.
In a little
So,
bit of time. So I think I'm gonna pull a "To Be in Love" from Gwendolyn Brooks.
oh, oh my gosh.
Okay. To be in love is to touch with a lighter hand. In yourself you stretch, you are well. To look at things through his eyes. A cardinal is red, a sky is blue. Suddenly you know he knows too. He is not there, but you know you are tasting together. Ooh, the winter or light spring weather. His hand to his hand to take your hand is overmuch, too much to bear. You cannot look in his eyes because your pulse must not say what must be said. When he shuts a door, is not there, your arms feel like water and you are free with a ghastly freedom. You are the beautiful half of a golden hurt You remember and covet his mouth, to touch, to whisper on. O when to declare is certain death. O when to apprise is to mesmerize. To see fall down the column of gold into the commonest ash. Again, times.
Yes.
The times
Yes.
of
And
writing.
yes. And speaking of the times, Lexi Hughes wrote a poem for Billie Holiday. And it goes, "What can purge my heart of the song and the sadness? What can purge my heart but the song of the sadness? What can purge my heart of the sadness of the song?
Ooh.
Do not speak of sorrow with dust in her hair or bits of dust in eyes. A chance wind blows there. The sorrow that I speak of is dusted with despair. Voice of muted trumpet, cold brass in warm air, bitter television blurred, but sound that shimmers. Where?" That's the song for Billie Holiday. So I'm glad that he took the time to sort of write that. And we could think about that, right? Like we could think about what he's trying to tell us in this poem. So I like it.
Okay, you got something. Let me see. I was looking for something from Maya.
Oh, we must have something for Maya.
Yes, we do. Oh, and then of course, I just want to read my Gwendolyn Brooks favorite. We real cool.
Oh, we real cool. We stay in
We
school. We
real
jump
cool.
dive.
We
Yeah.
left school. We track straight. We left school. We sing sin. We drink gin. We don't drink gin. We drink tequila.
I
We
know.
jazz.
Are we telling it ourselves?
Oh no. But yeah, let's find some Maya. We trying to be inspirational in this hour, y'all.
Yeah.
There's so many things. We are both going through some stuff,
Oh, girl.
okay? Personal lives
Oh,
and professional lives making things happen, but as you make things happen, sometimes the other stuff, negative stuff comes about.
yes.
And we are always trying to lift and motivate. And Lit Fest is started out of a celebration. I love celebrations. That's why I started Lit
Yes,
Fest, a
you do.
celebration. I
Yes.
love celebrations
Ife does
of
love
all
a good
kinds.
celebration. She loves a good celebration.
You can celebrate anything in the struggle. I keep it real with you about the struggle and how people are and all that. But we must. I sincerely believe that celebrations are really important for us to
Yes.
maintain to have resilience, maintain resilience and sanity through whatever we're struggling through. Whatever we're
Yes.
struggling, the worst thing in the world I think somebody could do when they're going through something is to, and I'm not a therapist. I ain't telling nobody what to do. Just saying from me,
Yes.
to hold up and just like keep it in because we both live out loud, y'all. Y'all know that we live out loud.
We do.
You can invite us to something, we gonna show up.
We do. We do.
You got a poem, Babs?
I do. I have, you know what? Maya Angelou and
Hmm.
Still I Rise.
Of course. Ooh,
Okay.
let's go with it.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like a just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope's upbringing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you?
Mm.
Don't don't you take it awful hard 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear. I rise into the daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Whoop.
Go ahead, Maya. I feel you. I feel you, Maya.
And I got one from her too, which is also
Yes,
my her first the book, the first book I read. I know why the cage birds sing.
girl.
Because
I love
everybody
that.
knows that was a book, but I don't know how many people know there was a poem.
It was a poem. Yes.
I know why the cage bird sings. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through the bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on the dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a cage bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream, his wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. What?
I love that.
What? Like, folks,
Yes.
can you hear what is in that?
Yes. I
How,
know why the cage bird sings. That's
okay,
pretty powerful.
what you could be in a place.
Yes. You could be in a
Get
place.
joy and liberation, y'all. Come
Yes.
on now.
Yes. Yes, Ife. Yes.
There's joy and
Yes.
liberation.
Yes. And yes.
Or you
Yes.
could just be in the cage, jealous about the people out there.
Yes. And so I have a Maya Angelou poem which I think fits me now because it's a poem called On Aging. And now that
Mm,
I'm in a place of aging, it resonated. When I read this poem when I was a young woman, it didn't resonate with me because I wasn't. I mean, I was aging, but it's a different kind of aging. Now, in this part of
yep.
my life, it's a different kind of aging, and so this resonates with me.
Mm.
Maya Angelou on aging. When you see me sitting quietly, like a sack left on the shelf, don't think I need your chattering. I'm listening to myself. Hold, stop. Don't pity me. Hold, stop your sympathy. Understanding if you got it, otherwise I'll do without it. When my bones are stiff and aching and my feet won't climb the stair, I will only ask one favor. Don't bring me no rocking chair. When you see me walking, stumbling, don't study and get it wrong, because tired don't mean lazy, and every goodbye ain't gone.
Every.
I'm the same person I was back then. A little less hair, a little less chin, a
Mm-hmm.
lot less lungs, and much less wind. But ain't I lucky I can still breathe in? Go ahead, Maya. Maya was like, I ain't going with y'all. Don't mess with me. Don't pity me.
Okay. Okay. It's just like, listen, ain't nobody a matron.
No.
Ain't nobody
And
trying to
she's
be.
like, and she's like, just because you see me, get out my way. Like,
Okay.
don't mistake. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
You see me coming with my cane. I don't need your help. I don't need your help. I'm
Or like,
good.
or what I like to say is like, you ain't caught up to me yet.
Right.
Because
Oh,
what young people forget is that every time they have a birthday, they getting closer to where I am.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. No, yes. 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 Yes.
It's just like so many points can be made. So many points can be made.
Yes.
Oh boy. The
Yes.
poetry, the things we love. So you got something by Tracy?
You know what? I didn't pull anything by Tracy, but I think I will. Seeing her at Grace, because Ife, she had a good conversation. She was talking about time. It was a conversation on
Mm,
time, and she talked about trying to get back home because her father was sick, and he was uh, dying. And
mm,
she was talking about time and remembering when he wasn't sick and dying. And so it was amazing. But she read a Lucille Clifton poem and she read a Jericho Brown poem. But I personally think she probably is one of the most she probably is one of the most brilliant poets in our lifetime.
mm-hmm.
Uh, because I so enjoyed her so much, and I'm
So
gonna.
I'm a back on Nikki Giovanni, just to harp on her.
Yes, go,
um
go. I'm gonna
I
find a poem by Tracy K. Smith.
something came up. um I mean, this poem came to mind because of my mother's the anniversary of my mother's passing last week and a half ago.
Which is my
and
mother's birthday.
and um my um in my current state of motherhood. um the last time I was home, this is Mothers by Nikki Giovanni. The last time I was home to see my mother, we kissed, exchanged pleasantries and unpleasantries with a warm, comforting silence around us, and read separate books. I remember the first time I consciously saw her. We were living in a 3-room apartment on Burns Avenue. Mommy always sat in the dark. I don't know how I knew. I don't know how I knew that, but she did. That night, I stumbled into the kitchen, maybe because I've always been a night person, or perhaps because I had wet the bed. She was sitting on a chair. The room was bathed in moonlight diffused through tiny window panes. She may have been smoking, but maybe not. Her hair was 3/4 her height, which made me a strong believer in the Samson myth, and very black. I'm sure I hung there by the door. I remember thinking, what a beautiful lady. She was deliberately waiting, perhaps for my father to come home from his night job, or maybe for a dream that had promised to come by. Come here, she said. I'll teach you a poem. I see the moon sees me. God bless the moon, and God bless me. I taught that to my son, who recited it for her, just to say we must learn to bear the pleasures as we have borne the pains.
Yes. And
Okay.
and you know what? I actually taught that poem to my children. God bless the moon. God bless me. I see the moon sees me. God bless the moon. God bless. I actually taught that to my children because that is the first poem that they have committed to memory. And when you see them, they can recite it. They can absolutely recite it because I taught it to them for that purpose, the way she taught it to her son. I was so moved by it, and I wanted them to know it. I wanted them to know it, and so and they do know it. So I'm just saying. So
Um, you got it?
I do have a poem by Tracy K. Smith, who was the U.S. Poet Laureate in 2019, and she gave a really good talk yesterday. Ife, she was
Oh my
amazing.
gosh. I believe it.
I mean, she really was amazing. And she told a story about her father. And I was going to read a poem that had nothing to do with what she talked about yesterday, but what she wrote before. So,
Mhm.
what woke to war in me those years when my daughter had first grown into a solid, self-centered self? I'd watch her sit at the table. Well, not quite sit, more like standing on one leg, while the other knee hovered just over the chair. She wouldn't lower herself as if there might be a fire or a great black blizzard of waves let loose in the kitchen, and she'd need to make her escape. No, she trusts no one but herself, her own. New lean, always jittering legs to carry her. Where exactly? Where would a child go? To there alone. She'd rest one elbow, shimming the solid, expensive, tasteful chair. And even though we were together, her eyes would go half done, half dome, shades dropped, like a screen at some cinema the old weren't let into. I thought I'd have more time. I thought my body would have taken longer going about the inevitable fear of repelling her. But now I could see, even in what food she left untouched, food I thought and made and all but furry to her lips, I could see would it smack of all that had grown slack and loosened me. Her other arm would wave the fork around just above the surface of the plate, casting about for the least possible morsel, the tiniest grain of unseasoned rice. She'd dip into the food like one of those shoddy metal claws poised over a valley of rubber, bouncing balls, the kind that lifts nothing or next to nothing and drops in the chute. The narrow, untouched hips, the shoulders still so naive as to stand squared, erect, impervious, facing the window open, onto the darkening dust. Yes,
Wow. Okay,
yes.
Tracy.
She is very deep.
She's very brilliant.
She is. And to hear her talk, I mean, she talked about racism and white supremacy in a way, in a poetic way. She talked about it, and um Ife, she talked about it in a way that squashed, that just chilled white people without chilling white people. You know what I mean? Like they didn't know that they were being slapped, but they were being slapped.
So I wonder how many of them would left that space going, wait, what just happened? Or they thought about it and in the playback in their mind and be like, oh, did you do you think she meant?
I bet you they walked out feeling like we just been talked to.
I don't
we
know.
just
Some white people it goes over their head.
I
They
know,
just
girl.
there.
Listen. Yes.
So
Yes.
this is a song that is a by Billy. God Bless the Child by Billie Holiday is a song. It's
Oh.
my favorite poem. And when you talked about poems for your children, like I used to play this um for Raven, and we sing it together with as she was a child. So I'm just gonna say the words. Then there's "Got shall get,
Oh.
that's not shall lose." So the Bible says, and it still is news. Mama may have, Papa may have. God bless the child that's got his own. That's got his own.
Yeah.
Yes, the strong seem to get more, while the weak ones fade. Empty pockets don't ever make the grade, as Mama may have and Papa may have. God bless the child that's got his own. That's got his own. And when you got money, you got a lot of friends crowding around your door. And when the money's gone and all your spending ends, they won't be round anymore. No, no more. And rich relations may give you a crust of bread and such. You can't help yourself, but don't you can help yourself, but don't take too much. Cause mama may have and your papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. God bless the child who can stand up and say, I've got my own. Every child's got to have his own. And man, if that song
Yes.
doesn't resonate with my life right now,
Yes. Listen, girl. I
what?
listen. I
In
feel you.
so many ways.
Yes.
Jesus. You
Well.
know, it's amazing what we're attracted to,
Mm,
what we're like, what like the literary things that come in our lives. Like I just can't understand. People don't read. If you watch TV all the time, I guess things on TV resonate with you. I guess somebody wrote it, but there's but there's nothing like literature, like good poetry
I listen.
and a good story.
I
Like,
feel you.
come on.
I'm gonna leave you with this: "A Poem of Friendship" by Nikki Giovanni, who is my Sora, which I'm moved that she is my Sora. I'm a Delta. She's a Delta. But this is one of my favorite poems too, a poem of friendship. And this poem sort of lights colors how I view relationships these days. We are not lovers because of the love we make, but the love we have. We are not friends because of the laughs we spend, but the tears we save. I don't want to be near you for the thoughts we share, but the words we never have to speak. I will never miss you because of what we do, but what we are together. That's it.
Oh, and with that, Fabs, it's been a lovely hour. I
Thank
thank
you for inviting me to talk about poetry because you know it's my favorite thing.
for those of you who tuned in or who will tune in. This is the Elm City Lit Fest podcast, and my guest tonight was Babz Rawls Ivy, my good friend, and we talked about poetry that we love. We
We
actually
do
we and we have these conversations
in
uh,
real life.
in real.
Like we not just for the podcast, but beyond the podcast, we actually talk about literature and books and poetry. I mean, we do. I mean, we really do this. So there you go.
Exactly. So, with
Thank
that
you,
said,
Ife.
I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate Rev Kev, Baobab Tree Studios. Anybody want a podcast, look them up and share this show. And our time, I will see you out. We are out. See you later.